You're listening to Hashtag No Filter with Zack Peter. That's me, your naturally platinum blonde pop culture connoisseur. I'm the reality TV junkie, self-improvement addict, and host with only the hottest tea spilled fresh weekly. For more hot takes, go and give me a follow at Just Plain Zack. I always keep it funny and I always keep it cute. And if you're like me and you want to stay up to date with the latest reality tea, just go and give us a follow at No Filter with Zack on the Instagram, or you can always join our private Facebook group. The link is in the description below. I hope you have snagged some fizzy Housewives-inspired rosé for yourself. Packing a punch at 14% alcohol by volume, but less than a gram of sugar. Head over to nofilterwine.com. That's nofilterwine.com. I have 4 fun designs. Obviously, we sold out of Potomac. Thank you guys so much. But we still have 4 fun designs inspired by Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Atlanta, New Jersey, and New York. The one I have here today is I Stole Kim's Goddamn House, which is just like a fun and favorite vibe that I've been drinking while watching Paris in Love and while watching 12 Dates of Christmas on HBO Max. 2 very good, very juicy reality shows. Paris in Love is obviously, I think we're only 3 episodes deep. But anyway, I'm drinking I Stole Kim's Goddamn House. We also have I'm Ready to Mention It All, I'm Ready to Flip a Table, and Now Tell Me Who Gon' Check Me, Boo. So go check those out. It's perfect for a holiday party. It's a perfect gift for your Bravo obsessed besties, friends, yo mama, because yo mama watches Bravo. So stock up at nofilterwine.com. Okay, today is a big episode because I have 2 really killer guests on that I have so much fun with when I tape. First up, we have Brooke Lusk, who is on HBO Max's 12 Dates of Christmas, which if you've been following me on Instagram or following the show on Instagram at No Filter with Zack, you'll know that I've been obsessed with this reality show. It's a dating show, but the concept is it's a different concept. You have 3 suitors, 12 dates that they go on, all looking to take somebody home for the holidays. Brooke is one of the daters. I think she's one of the breakout daters, and I have a juicy conversation with her, and she's ready to mention it all. I also have on later in the episode, Mr. Ryan Bailey, host of So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey, one of my favorite podcasts and one of my favorite podcasters, also here to really just mention it all. So you're in for a real treat with a double guest. And trust me, you're going to enjoy this episode because there is so much that we break down and it is so much FUN. First up today's guest can be seen in Danny Trejo's new film, American Sicario, as well as the breakout star of HBO Max's 12 Dates of Christmas. Please welcome Miss Brooke Lusk.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. And thank you for talking about American Sicario. I appreciate that.
Yes. I haven't seen American Sicario yet. I'm sure everybody will be rushing to the theaters once they can get access to it. But 12 Dates of Christmas, we talked about this on Instagram Live last week. I'm obsessed, Brooke, and I've been waiting to chat with you because we couldn't really give spoilers last week because we wanted everybody to watch it, but now we can dive into it.
Yes. Yeah. And when we talked last week, I hadn't even seen it. I had just lived it. So I was just as blind as the rest of the world.
When did you tape it? Were you doing Christmas in July?
No. It was real time. Yeah.
What has the reception been like? Are boys now lining up to slide into your DMs now that they know that Danny didn't choose you?
I have been getting quite a few message requests. Yeah. After Thanksgiving, this whole weekend, my message requests have just been firing off. It's actually been the most love I've been getting have been from gay men and lesbians. Yeah. I've been getting a lot hey, if you ever want to try this side of things, I'll be your girlfriend. Or I've just been getting a lot of gay love. And I'm honestly here for the lesbian simping more than the straight man simping, if I'm being honest.
Yes. Okay, so for people that aren't familiar with the show, we do have spoilers ahead. But so the premise of 12 Dates of Christmas, the second season just came out last week. It's three single suitors. We had Amanda, Danny, and Markel, and they go on 12 dates, all in pursuit of taking someone home for the holidays. You were one of Danny's final 2, which...
Yes.
Did you feel obviously we know ultimately Danny ended up picking Nicki in the end. Did you feel dragged on? I felt like every week I'm he has to pick Brooke. He has to pick Brooke. He has to pick Brooke. And it was such a curveball at the end that he ultimately went with Nicki.
Yeah.
Were you I mean, obviously, you went through all the emotions with us. I was screaming at the television the entire time, or screaming at my laptop the entire time. But like, did you get those like F boy vibes from Danny as like, you know, he doesn't really know what he wants. He's kind of just playing with his options, because it really made it seem like you were the best choice for him.
Right. I didn't get F-boy vibes from Danny at all. I think he's a gentleman. I think he was truly torn. Um, I I think what happened with Danny and I, which you don't see a lot of, and I touch at the very end when I get rejected for the second time, that there were some differences Danny and I were struggling with that we had conversations about. Like logistically, he lives in Florida, I live in California. He had no intentions from moving from Florida. I had no intentions from moving from California. My career is definitely my first priority right now. I'm in my mid-late 20s and I'm in love with my job. And he knew that about me. And I think that was something he actually loved about me, but it did kind of drive a wedge between us where that wasn't there for Danny and Nicki's relationship. It was more flowing. They seemed to be more on the same page. So I can see why it was such a huge shock to viewers, because even I'm watching it, I'm like, why didn't he pick me? You know, but logistically, there were things where we weren't compatible.
Was there ever, do you feel like if you had been brought into the game sooner, you may have had a better chance? Because I feel like Nicki they got to build up their relationship a little more. And obviously, as we watched you in the show, we saw that you were struggling with things moving really quickly.
Yeah, I think things definitely could have been differently if I had more time on the show than I did. I was 7 out of 8 girls to show up. So I think obviously just the time I had was so crucial that I did have to move at the speed of light emotionally with Danny. I had to be so honest. All my walls had to be down, which you do see on the throuple date, that all my walls aren't really down. And I was honest to him about that I was like, I'm afraid. And I got really hurt in my last relationship. So maybe me having more time or the same amount of time as Nicki, that I would have been able to process things more smoothly. And then maybe we would have had more time to talk about logistics and we could have ended up together. I think time plays a huge, huge part in why Danny didn't pick me. And he says it a lot in the hometown episode.
Now, being that this was obviously like a dating experiment any dating show is going to be some sort of dating experiment. Do you feel like it helped you get to know him a lot better because you were kind of forced under the pressure of time? Like, do you think you would like to do that more in relationships moving forward? Or are you just like, that was a one-time thing, I want to take things super slow for future relationships?
That is such a good question. And actually, the producers asked me this towards the end of the season as well. And I told them that I do want to take the things that I've learned from this dating show into real life. And it might be scary for some people, but I think it wouldn't be scary for the people who are actually ready for a relationship. And it's not like it has to be as intense as the dating show, right?
Yeah.
But I think going in with that openness and vulnerability and honesty and just like, hey, I'm interested in you. I really like you. And I can see these things in the future with you. How do you feel? And I don't think that should scare anyone who's actually ready. And if it does, then it's like, whatever, you know? But I think it...
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think it taught me a very valuable lesson to not fear love, I guess, to put it simply.
What would you say was your intention coming into the game? Did you think, or into the show, did you think that you were actually going to be leaving with the man of your dreams, like The Bachelor?
So I quarantined for a little over a week before I got on the show, and that gave me a lot of time to think about this specifically. And I came to the conclusion that I was just going to enter this house with an open mind and an open heart. And it would just be a cherry on top if I left the house with the man of my dreams, with a fiance, with a boyfriend, whatever it was, to whatever capacity. But I was so proud of myself because I am such a girl that has like high expectations with everything I go into. And I squashed all of those expectations. And I was like, let's just go have fun. Let's just be you. And whatever happens, happens. And I got a really great experience, even though I got eliminated twice.
Could you have seen yourself having a future with Danny had you guys had a little more time to get to know each other? Like, do you think you could have beat Nicki in the end?
Yes. Yes, I do. I think what Danny and I had was different than what Nicki and Danny had. Granted, I don't know the extent of what they had, so it's hard to talk about that. But I think if Danny and I ended up together, it would have still been in an exploratory phase because of how rushed reality TV dating is.
Yeah.
And if he would have been okay with that, that would have been okay with me. And he put it in the terms risk and reward when they were having like the leads contemplating before the first elimination. And I was the risk and Nicki was the reward because she was so sure of herself, which isn't a bad thing at all. But I don't think me being a risk would have changed at all. I think we still would have ended up in an exploratory phase.
Have you talked to Danny at all?
We've texted a little bit. Yeah.
What's the nature of the conversation now?
Just very friendly. I haven't heard from him in months, but it was just very kind. Him reaching out. Are you okay? How are you? Nothing ever. Like I mean, as far as I know, I think they're still together. So him jeopardizing anything with Nicki was not any context in the texting me. I think he was just truly like, "Hey, I'm sorry. How are you?" So very friendly, very short, very sweet.
If things didn't work out with Nicki, because I noticed they haven't posted anything with each other, and now that the show is out, I would have thought we would have gotten at least an Instagram story together. But would there be a possibility for the two of you down the line if he circled back and was like, you know what, I would love to give this a second try?
I don't think so. I think I've done quite a bit of healing and there's no animosity or maliciousness towards him, but this is also kind of a pattern for me with my other exes. Like once I'm over you, I'm over you. I can't really revert back. And I feel like I've grown since the show. I actually feel like a completely different person since I've filmed the show. So yeah, I don't think so. I think it's a friendship from here.
I like that answer. And I like that answer because he didn't choose you, and you should never pick a guy that doesn't choose you as the number one. And that's the lesson that everybody needs to learn from that, is that if he doesn't pick you first, then he doesn't get you in the end at all.
Yep. And I have to tell you, I swallowed a lot of pride because of that exact reason to show up in New York. Because in my head, I was like, okay, I wrote that letter for closure for myself.
So that was something you did on your own. That wasn't something that the producers encouraged you to do.
No, I wrote that on my own. And like I said in the show, you see him come out and cry. And, you know, that was kind of like a wake up moment for me. Like, why did he do that? That replayed in my head for a couple nights before I hopped on my plane to Los Angeles. And I felt like I owed it to him, but I felt like I needed to do it for myself so I could leave with that closure. And it ended up working out so I could see him again and get face-to-face closure. But I did have to swallow a lot of pride because I am a firm believer of like, if I'm your second choice, I'm not going to be a choice at all.
Yeah.
But I did it.
What did you learn most about yourself going through that experience?
I learned that I am capable of vulnerability. And if I do fall flat on my face, which I did twice, life isn't over. Life isn't going to end. I'm going to be okay. You can pick yourself up and dust yourself off. And if anything, you learn, you get stronger. I mean, as long as you're doing it for the right reasons, I don't think it's a bad thing to put yourself out there. I think I shocked myself in how much I let my guard down, even after all the hurt I've been through in the past.
Have you talked to Nicki at all?
I haven't. Just like Instagram comments. I tagged her in a post the other day and she commented. So I think, and now, especially after seeing the last two episodes, because I didn't know how she was feeling about the letter or, you know, me kissing him in New York. I think it would be weird if her and I were besties, you know? So not that we aren't friends. We are. I love the girl, but I think it would be weird if we were like in cahoots or something.
Were you expecting to kind of fall for him as quickly as you did? Because it seemed like those emotions really kind of intensified with every episode that we got to watch.
No, I wasn't expecting to fall that quickly. I don't think I've ever fallen that quickly. And maybe it's something with like the winter wonderland and being in that lodge and being surrounded by other people who are just as open as falling in love. But every one-on-one time I've had with Danny was so intimate. And I don't know if it was atmosphere, if we were really just connected. Like, I just remember that solid eye contact with him every single time we had one-on-one. And you guys get like bits and pieces of our one-on-ones. Some of those one-on-ones lasted hours, which was incredible. So we got to unpack a lot of stuff about each other, which I'm sure helps someone fall for the other.
So those were real feelings, or do you think that the pressure of being in the cooker intensified that?
I think both. Definitely real feelings. I mean, I was watching myself sob last night after the elimination, and I was like, like I'm over here like, oh God, I remember that. So yeah, I mean, I couldn't cry like that if it wasn't real. But I think the pressure of being in the cooker, and yeah, I'm like flashing back to things and just being around that person all the time who wants the same thing as you, intensifies.
Do you think that it's possible to find love on reality TV?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Were you a Bachelor or Bachelorette fan or any sort of dating shows?
I have only seen one season of The Bachelorette, and that was JoJo's season. I was not like a diehard. This was actually just something that I kind of was like, let's give it a go. Let's go have fun. And, you know, I think I also wanted to take this risk because of how hurt I had just gotten. It was very recent. And I was like, let's go for it. You deserve this. But I do like, I don't like using the word trashy, but like Too Hot to Handle type of shows. I love those shows.
I love Too Hot to Handle.
The messy ones.
Yes, the messy one to watch. Well, I mean, to be fair, if I was thrown into the mix, I would get pretty messy myself.
Right.
What were your thoughts of, well, I guess you didn't really get to interact with Markel, but what were your thoughts of Amanda and Penny?
I love Penny with my whole heart and soul. That man is the most warm. He is the warmest, compassionate, like sitting next to him on the couch or at the breakfast table, the way Penny will just like hold your hand or hug you. I remember his hugs. Like he would just grab you so tight. I'm like, I think I fell in love with Penny, to be quite honest. No, he is just one of my best friends, and he's so freaking sweet and adorable and so charming. I'm so glad he got the chance to become the lead and find love for himself. Amanda, fun fact, I just talked to her the other day. Her and I filmed a commercial together in 2018, and we figured this out like 4 days ago. And I was like, how did we never look at each other on the show and be like, I know you? Isn't that wild? Yeah, she is beautiful and stunning and love her. And I did get to meet Markel in New York, and he was a gem as well.
Do you think that, because I feel like Markel and Amanda got a lot of heat for not being as, I don't know if I would say open, but they were a little more reserved, which I feel like when you're in that position, it's kind of hard to open up when you're dating so many different people and so many different types of people. Do you think that the heat that they got from people in the house about not being as open or vulnerable was warranted?
Yes and no. I could see both sides, me being a Libra, like justice for all. With Markel, I think it's a completely different situation than Amanda. Markel's heart was somewhere else, and kudos to him for realizing it and giving everyone else a chance, and he left. I think that's so huge of him because he didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
You know, he could have stayed on TV as long as he wanted. So yeah, I think people need to cut him a little more slack for sure. And with Amanda, I can relate. I feel like I was in similar shoes and I was focusing on one person, and it was hard for me to put all of, you know, my feelings into that one person. So for her to divide everything up into 8 people overall, I couldn't imagine, to be quite honest. That would be extremely hard for me. So yeah, but then I mean, I get the love interest points of view where it's like, but that's what you're here for. That's what you're here for. So it's tough.
Do you have a date for the holidays? Are you even in hot pursuit, or are you just like, I'm writing out the year single?
I'm writing out the year single. I'm thoroughly in love with all of my best friends. I mean, my DMs are in hot pursuit for sure. I'm sure I could take home a holiday if I wanted to. It's funny that some of my DMs are using other cast members. Like, I know so and so, and they said we can hook you up. I know, like, hey, DM me, and I'm like, what is happening? So no, but I'm feeling good by myself right now.
That's good. I think I've reached that same point where I'm like, at least until January, I just want to have fun. I just want to let loose. I just want to, like,
right,
finish this year off and go into 2022 single and on a fun note. And then, when I'm ready to be emotionally available again, I'll put myself back on the market. But like, I've deleted all the dating apps and everything. Are you even on any right now?
No, I haven't been on dating apps in years. I've been on a couple Bumble dates, couple Hinge dates, and nothing. I really want that organic meet.
Yeah.
It doesn't work for me.
Where are you meeting guys? At Whole Foods? Soul Cycle?
I have been hit on at Ralph's a handful of times. So I do get hit on at the grocery store, usually when I look like a bag of trash. And I'm like, what is happening? I actually meet a lot of guys on set as when I'm a script supervisor, which makes me a little worried because my ex was in the industry too. So, but I can't stereotype.
How long did you guys date? And how long were you broken up before you joined the show?
We dated just over a year and broken up, I think 5 months, 6 months.
That's still pretty soon to throw yourself into such an intense situation.
It was. It absolutely was. I remember during quarantine, we unfollowed each other, and he had randomly liked one of my photos, and I had like a full blown like panic attack, and I had to call my best friend, and I was like, I mean, it just shook me because I was like, I thought I was over him, and like, why am I reacting this way? And she was like, dude, you're quarantined, like with no contact, like you're fine, chill out. Of course, they always pop up. They have like a radar. They're like, you're happy again, aren't you?
Let me just swoop right in and wreck your life. So were you hesitant to do reality TV considering, you have an acting and production background, which I assume is the main pursuit? Yes,
correct. Yeah, absolutely. I was so hesitant. I was really afraid that reality TV would maybe typecast me as a reality TV star. I was under the impression that reality TV was scripted. This is fake. All of this, just the stereotypes that go along with it. I was one of those people, and now I'm watching it back, and I'm like, God damn! Everyone in that house was so authentic and pure and had good intentions. At least people I got to meet. And the person that comes to mind right now with such purity is Remy. And I watched her get eliminated the same night I did, and those tears and the things she said about Amanda, I was like, God, that girl has such a big heart.
Yeah,
she's so beautiful.
What is the main goal career-wise?
Working in film. I love working behind the camera. I love working in front of the camera. I fell into script supervising and absolutely fell in love with it. I could talk about it forever, but truly, if I do either work behind the camera or work in front of it, my soul is just full. I just love movies.
You also did Phone Swap for Snapchat, which we both ended up talking about on Instagram Live. Yeah. We both did that show. I obviously had a much more mortifying experience on it. Had you been familiar with the show prior to doing it?
No.
Yeah.
I actually didn't even know what it was called when I got there. They said, I think the casting said something like Snapchat dating show or like blind date. And then, when you fill out all the forms, like release forms, there's something in there that says like, you're going to give up your phone. But like, did I read it? No.
Oh, I don't even remember reading that in my contract. Or if I did, I thought I probably like, oh, you're not allowed to take it on set. Here's my phone.
Right. And I remember when they said pull out your phones and you're gonna swap. He handed me my phone and was like, unlock it. And I was like, no. What? No, I'm not unlocking my phone. Like this. And he was like, you signed it. And I was like, oh my God. But I guess I was an angel and there were no nudes on my phone.
Oh my God. I had the worst. I mean, he was a great. Listen, I think I can do really well on camera, but I didn't realize I also had another pro opposite of me. So I was trying to create the cute, let's do a cute date so that people watching will root for us in the end. And he did the opposite. And he's like, no, let me just like make everything look so much more incriminating than it actually was. And it was so mortifying, but I delivered some great lines that, made us some breakouts. I had a lot of boys digging me up and sliding into my DMs after that. So I was very proud of myself.
I love that. Yes. I want to see your episode.
Oh God. It's mortifying. My mother, I remember, played it for like a bunch of people. And it was like the one thing you just don't want your mother to be playing for her friends, right. As your intimate photos become exposed for the internet to see.
Yes. Yeah. It was not an easy thing to do. I actually took his phone and went on his Snapchat and took a selfie of myself and sent it to all the girls in his Snapchat. Like, who do I think
I love that. Oh my God. That is the energy I want. 2022. I'm channeling Brooke. Would you
just stirring the pot?
Would you do more reality TV in the future?
I would. Yeah, I had a great time. I had a great experience.
Would you do more dating shows or just other? Oh, you would do more dating on TV.
Yeah. I mean, I got to finally see Penny and Winston end up together. And I was like, I want that. And I got to experience everything leading up to it. And I think it's absolutely worth it if that's what I got at the end.
Are they still together?
I'm not sure, actually.
Well, I'm going to need to slide into his DMs and find out.
Wait, who? Penny or Winston?
Penny. Well, I mean, I have a crush on somebody else on the cast. But with Penny, I have talked about, since we're both in LA, I was like, I need to come in and do a Barry's boot. I haven't done a Barry's boot camp in forever. And I feel like I need to get my ass kicked.
Yes. So I used to work at Barry's before the pandemic. I was a front desk manager, and then that connected Penny and I on the show. And I was like, oh my God, I used to work there. And then when he told me he was moving from Atlanta to LA to be at Barry's here, I about died. So I have not taken his class yet either. So we should go together.
Yes, we should definitely do. I will then. I need to slide into his DMs and be like, Brooke and I need a class. We're coming in to do a class and you need to make it super intense. What I think we need to start a change.org petition to bring you back for 12 Dates of Christmas season 3, but as a lead. Because you were done so dirty in this second season that I feel like we need the redemption story.
I agree.
We're starting a change.org petition and we're making this happen.
Okay. At HBO Max. Let's start that. Yeah. I mean, people have been commenting on my stuff for like reunions and, am I going to come back as a lead? And I'm like, ask HBO Max. And I just tag them and everything. The people are demanding.
How is the acting career coming along?
Acting career is coming along great. Have American Sicario coming out on December 10th. So, gosh, almost 10 days away. I'm very excited. I haven't seen American Sicario either, so I am very excited to see that on the big screen. That is going to be a surreal moment when I go into a movie theater and I'm like, that's me. But yeah, auditioning, doing lots of self-tapes, nothing coming up right now. It is a weird limbo for film right now. I feel like a lot of auditions have already happened and like filming might be happening now. And I've been busy with 12 dates. So, come January, hopefully things get picked up and I just start auditioning again.
Did you get to work with Danny Trejo?
I didn't. No, we never filmed on the same days. So I didn't have any scenes with him. But I heard he was absolutely lovely to work with.
Well, I can't wait to watch this new film, Brooke. I can't wait to go in theaters and see it because I watched you on HBO Max, and now I feel like we need you did the TV debut, and now we need the theatrical debut. Not theatrical, the film. Oh,
Yeah,
or theaters.
right.
No,
it's theatrical.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I got that right.
It's like completely opposite. It's like all these fuzzy, warm feels with Christmas, and then there's like drugs and guns, and it's like she could do both. Get you a girl who could do both.
Are you going home for the holidays?
I am. Yes, I will be in Sacramento with my family.
That'll be fun. Do you guys have any fun holiday traditions? Are you doing a watch party for 12 dates?
So my parents watched it the day after I came back to LA after Thanksgiving. And my grandparents watched it too. God, Lord, help me. My very Catholic Italian grandparents watched it. And I got nothing but great feedback from them. So they both, my mom and dad texted me, my Nana and Papa texted me, and they were like, we're so proud of you. Like, your smile looked great on camera, just like the most supportive. I was terrified that they had to see me in the green dress, like making out with the boy, whispering sweet nothings under my breath. I was like, oh my God. But I think they just realized I'm 27 years old. Yeah. That stuff happens.
You're a big girl now, Brooke.
I'm a big girl. Sometimes I don't feel like it.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it depends on the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Were they mad at Danny for not picking you?
Yes. I'm being quite honest. I mean, they knew, obviously. I didn't come home with a boyfriend. And they're completely biased. I mean, it could have been Angelina Jolie up against me, and they would have been like, he's an idiot, right? But they were mad at him, and they thought he was stupid for not choosing me. And I mean,
I was Team Brooke the entire way through. I never was Team Nicki. I liked Nicki when she first came onto the scene, but I was never Team Nicki. I was always a Team Brooke.
I love you. Thank you.
Where can people, if they want to keep up with you and your acting career and your possible future dating career on reality television, where can they check you out, Brooke?
They can find me on Instagram, which is just my first and last name, Brooke Lusk. And you can find me on TikTok, which is my first and last name, and the number 5 after, Brooke Lusk 5. And I just do dumb shit on TikTok.
And that's what TikTok is for. We all started it in quarantine, and we just do the stupidest, dumbest shit on TikTok. I know my TikTok, I have followers on TikTok, but sometimes I'm like, what am I doing with my life?
Right. When someone's like, I follow you on TikTok, I'm like, damn it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Brooke. Everybody go and follow Brooke Lusk. Give her some love. Slide into her DMs with like positive affirmations and let her know that even though Danny didn't pick her, there is love and happiness and success coming her way in the future.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you.
Yes. Thanks, love. Please welcome the Sheena Shea to my Lala Kent, Mr. Ryan Bailey himself. How are you, Ryan Bailey?
I'm good. I'm shocked that you call me Sheena Shea. I'm trying to, Sheena, wow. I think I like that actually. I'd rather be Sheena than Lala right now. Right now, I think it could switch.
Only because I feel like I'm more of the saucy, spicy one that's always getting myself into trouble with my big mouth, and you just, And
I'm an idiot with a voice of gold.
You're good as gold.
By the way, no matter what Sheena does from here on out for the rest of her life, she has that one moment like that. I mean, you can't get better than good as gold. I think that works. That works on every level because I think it actually is a bop and it's hysterical at the same time.
Would you rather be Sheena or would you rather be Ariana? I mean, or you could always be Katie.
No, I'm good. I'd rather be Ariana. Ariana gets it. I mean, I think she might not be the most, the most dynamic reality show character, but I like her overall as a person. And I think I'm always siding with her in terms of opinions. And even she's the Tom Sandoval whisperer where she's like, you didn't win that fight. Like, that's not like, I like that. I like, she's very honest, even with the loved ones.
Yeah, I like Ariana. I like them all. I really love Lala right now, though. I love the new merch that she dropped, the brand new merch that she dropped.
Well, I mean, okay, so my roommate actually bought the brand new sweatshirt.
Yeah.
She was like, but at the same time, I'm curious how many people are going to buy that because it is so specific and it's almost like you're buying like it. I think it's insanely amazing what she did with the tattoo. It said Rand and she made it brand new. I was like, damn, I love that. I gotta say, I haven't loved Lala this season, but I have loved her post breakup. I want cameras on her, right? I'm so proud of her. But like, how many people are really going to be buying a shirt that's like, at the end of the day, you're wearing Rand on your person. And I just don't know if that, like, I love it at first, but then when I thought about it, I was like, yeah, I don't know. Like then you get into a conversation with somebody and you're explaining there's this man named Randall and I don't know, like do it to support Lala, I guess. And I love it as her tattoo. I think it's the best ever.
Yes, I agree. The tattoo, updating the tattoo, I was like, okay, love it. The merch, though, I was like, I love it. And then I clicked on the link and then I looked at it and I was like, am I really going to invest $50 into buying this sweater that is really so niche that I would really only buy it for like the Instagram to show people that I bought it because they will know what it's for.
You know what they should do? This is like, we should patent this idea is that they should also, if you don't want to spend the 50, you should be able to spend 15 and they'll give you a digital image for 2 photos that you can plaster over your body and you can use it for an IG photo and it only lasts for like 2 pics. So you have it for 2 pics, like it'll match up with your actual body. So it looks like you bought one just for the IG photos.
Listen, I love the idea. I love the hustle because I'm also like, she knows she's not getting alimony, but at least she knows she can make some cash off of the merch.
Well, she's hitting everything all at once. She is doing like, I mean, I can't open up my phone now without seeing a new Lala product. Like she's doing glassware. She's doing like IG ads up the wazoo. And I got to tell you, I like hustle. That's amazing. But it is funny to see it happen all at once when like Brittany and Jax are like, I've been doing this all year. Welcome, Lala. Welcome.
I also love that Brittany, I saw the photos of her. I guess it looked like Tom and Ariana had like a Christmas party and they all came over.
But Jax wasn't there.
Jax wasn't there? I know that I guess I didn't see him in any of the photos, but I saw Brittany.
Like, what a way to hold a grudge. Like that is amazing if he really wasn't there. Cause even Stassi was there.
Stassi was there. Sheena was there. Lala wasn't there. But I love that Brittany...
Lala was making an IG ad. She couldn't show up.
She had to promote Lala Skin and Lala Baby, give them Lala Skin and give them Lala Beauty and give them Lala Baby and give them Lala Home. I love that Brittany, though, has just fully embraced the like Midwest mom. Like she's like, I'm off TV. I'm just going to wear this Grinch, Snuggie and just, rock this vibe.
Yeah, I mean, she really does seem very comfortable. I don't know how confident she is because I hear that, she had like, of course, like when you're putting yourself so out there, but also, I mean, it's gotta suck sometimes for Brittany to see how much like Lala and Sheena bounce back. And like, she just like, I think that's one of the amazing things about motherhood is, she did this amazing thing. And that's when I kind of like, I even get creeped out when trolls are like commenting on like body and all that crap. Like, I'm more happy to I'll comment today. If you Facetune yourself, I'm happy to comment on that. But anything like that, like you made a baby, like that's more than anything I'll ever do in my life. And for people, I think that is the only. I love to make fun of Jax, even Brittany would agree. But that is just someplace I can't go. I'm more curious though about how Jax makes her feel. Is Jax making her feel beautiful? Or are we getting old Jax where now thoughts are creeping in of like, man, I could get any girl. I wonder if I could get girls still,
I want to know what is going on in Jax's brain because this is not the life that he signed up for. He did not sign up to not be on television. He didn't sign up to be like, infamous. He wanted the fame. And I mean, I guess he was pretty infamous on Vanderpump Rules, but he was still like an appreciated villain. Like people loved to hate him. And now people don't really care to do anything with him,
Well, out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
I mean, he better pray to get on Big Brother or something like that because it really is out of sight, out of mind. And I had a long drive from Arizona this morning, and I was thinking about it because I was watching Selling Sunset this weekend. And I was thinking, like everybody complains about Vanderpump Rules now. And it's like, what do you want? There's only so many chaotic years in people's lives.
Yeah.
There's only so many. And these aren't actors. It's not like Tom Hanks where like they can diversify and start playing older roles or something like that. It's not Meryl Streep. These are reality show people. Like the more chaotic your lives, the more entertaining the reality show. But at a certain point, if you are an actual human on this earth, you will outgrow that chaotic period of your life if you're doing it right. And for us, we're like, no, we want chaos. We want that. So it's weird. It's like, that's where the reality show part of it gets in, is that you make a deal with the devil of like, I will show this, but I will not be able to do this for more than 5 years.
I feel like at least for the Vanderpump kids, the only graduation they can move on to, or at least have some sort of longevity within their careers, is to do a Housewives show, is to have one of them. And I always said it was either going to be Lala or it was going to be Stassi. And now I don't know if it's going to happen for either of them, but I always thought those were the two that had the most potential to be on like a Beverly Hills Housewives.
That's why Winter House and Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip gives me great hope.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, it's showing that the audience is hungry for crossovers. So I would love to see a Lala in Beverly Hills. I think Stassi will definitely be back on our TV screens at some point. But I know what I didn't sign up for when it comes to Vanderpump Rules. And I know the ins and outs of all of their big houses in Valley Village now, and it just doesn't have the same pop. No offense to them. I'd kill to live in a house like that.
Yeah.
But it's not what I wasn't like, man, these bartenders that are like fucking each other and stuff. I hope one day I get to see them go to a big house
and a baby,
have kids. Yeah. Like, and maybe act like they're still working at, like, I don't know. Like, I didn't sign up for that.
It's interesting, though, that we never got any of the newbies introduced in this new season, because they said
they messed up, man. Like I don't know how we thought more about this than the production did. They almost said, well, we're going to crapshoot. We're going to hope that they care about all of these people getting older and having babies and stuff like that. And we'll leave Charlie in so we can say that we did something with one new person, barely.
But like even Ariana, when she was doing interviews at the beginning, she was like, no, there are going to be new people that'll be introduced. Like it was like that was all part of the planning, and they did casting for it. They had potentials that they filmed, but
I've talked to people that didn't accept the contract.
Yeah.
Because they were not even paying that much.
Oh, yeah. They give you what? Last season they did what, a $2,000 stipend for the whole season?
That's it. Yes, that's the exact dollar figure too. And I heard that and I was like, no effing way. And I will go even further. This was an African-American person that would have been, amazing first off, but also the time and place that we are in right now would have been so amazing to have. And this person was great, but 2,000, it's like, yo, I know you're taking a risk on a new person and they'll make money with Instagram or whatever, but you got to pay a little bit more than that.
Even the housewives make what, 40, 60K their first season. Like even they bring in something. And Vanderpump was a big show. And a lot of people were, if the show had really started off on the right foot, it could have done really well, to the point where it wouldn't be like slowly dwindling in the ratings.
Yeah, it's really when Winter House eclipsed it, I was like, I love Winter House, but when it eclipsed it, I got sad. I got sad for two reasons. One, because I knew people like Jax and Stassi are probably going to be like, well, they didn't have us, which is just BS. I think if Jax and Stassi were there, you were going to see the same kind of fatigue that we had with these other cast members with them as well. There's only so much we can deal with the Jax. I feel like we had run his course. Sure, we can always play Monday morning quarterback and say if he was there, that made me sad. So Jack should be like, yeah, screw you, Sandoval. Look they don't have me and your ratings are going down. So like, I know his delusional mind will think that. But the other thing that made me sad is that this was one of the shows that really made me love reality shows so much at its heyday.
Yeah.
And I just feel like, and I still am not going to give up on it. I'll watch it till the day it's off the air, but like they could fix this. They could fix it really easily if they wanted to.
What do you think is the solution? New people?
New people.
Reboot?
Just new people entirely. New people, but new people where, if you watch the making of that first season, it's all in the casting and the interviews.
Yeah.
You have to really dig deep. You have to find people of like, what's your relationship to this person? Okay. Have you ever slept with this person? Okay. Do you like this person over here? It feels like they didn't put that work in to really find these stories. And they just said, okay, yeah. I like, we're getting storylines. Like, no offense, I love Raquel, but Raquel's like, I'm scared to public speak. You know, like
I can't with Raquel and Charlie. Like, you can't replace Stassi and Kristen with Raquel and Charlie. You just can't. They're not interesting. They're not dynamic. They aren't funny. They aren't witty. They don't have personality.
You can't have Raquel and Charlie if you have other big, like, it's all about a balancing act. And I like Raquel. I love Raquel standing up to James and finding, but we also need people like Raquel, because then we get the worst of James because of how he treats her. So like, I understand that.
Not for a main opening credit, though. Not to fill in the missing piece of Jax, Stassi, and Kristen.
You needed I mean, you even let go of, or like, she didn't want to come back. I mean, Danica seemed like a
Danica would have been great. Yeah, but she was beating up her boyfriend. Like she was a little busy beating up her boyfriend. They weren't going to bring her back. What's her name? Dana didn't want to come back. They probably didn't offer her any real money. I thought Dana would have been great to return. I thought Danica would have been great to return. We could have gotten rid of Charlie altogether. We could have kept Raquel in her demoted role. We didn't need a full Raquel. Like, I don't need to hear about her nose anymore.
I love Charlie, but when you have one new person as opposed to a bunch of new people, you know, you are then getting the brunt of the either love or hate. And I gotta say, I've talked to Charlie not only on the podcast, but like, I've had her as my server, and she's entertaining as hell. Like, not even trying to be. Like, I'm like, there is her not even trying to be funny is funny. And like, I'm like, but even like in talking with them, it's like, the cast doesn't have any control over really what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, I don't want to speak for them, but I think they even knew that this wasn't their best foot forward in terms of show, you know?
Yeah. I mean, the biggest like foot forward was Lala and Ariana, which I did. And then there was the Sheena and Brock.
You're the podcast.
I'm the podcast.
By the way, that is my dream. That is my bucket list, Zach. You've had it now twice. I believe,
had Summer House, and now I had Vanderpump. Yeah.
If you guys know, you know, they obviously use his podcast, but that's my dream, because then that lives forever, dude. Like, no matter if podcasts go away completely, your podcast will always be in those episodes. And I mean, it's genius.
And it was two really big feuds. It was Lindsay versus Hannah, and then it was Lala versus Ariana. So I'm proud of myself, Ryan Bailey. I
literally, and the thing is, I will not. You know, I'll get like bigger interviews and stuff like that, but I don't consider it pussing out. I just don't usually. I'm like, yeah, let's just have fun. Like, but you ask very good questions that will stimulate a certain, not response, because it's very honest, but I'm sometimes shocked you're allowed to keep the things in that you're able to keep in, because I've dealt with Bravo PR and stuff like that, and I've had to cut out things that I'm like, damn, like, I would have loved to have kept that in.
Well, here's the thing. You don't deal with Bravo PR. You go around Bravo PR, and you go to their personal PR and their personal managers, and you cultivate those relationships, and you do that. And then you have to massage the ego. You have to open it up, talking about whatever it is they're promoting. I always
that part I'm great at. I can massage all day, but the hard part is that other part.
You work it in right at right in that right moment. You ask that right question right when they feel comfortable enough and the chemistry is just right, and then you hit them with the zinger.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, I mean, it works. I mean, it really works. Do you ever? That's the other question.
I've actually only been asked to cut out once out of an interview.
Oh, man.
And it was my
PR, I have to cut things out.
Oh yeah, that's why I don't go to through Bravo PR. Well,
but see, then if I don't, then they get in trouble for doing it by themselves, and then I get to hear that they're in trouble, and then Bravo PR, then I'm in. It's a whole wild thing, you guys. But do you ever deal with them after the fact? Not the PR, but even the stars themselves, where they're like, damn, dude, you got me in a lot of trouble. Like, is that
they slide into my DMs after the fact all the time. Even when they were filming that whole thing between Lala and Ariana, I had Sheena in my DMs being like, when, you know, like, talking about the show and how it was, transpiring. Not directly about the show, but she was like, when was this taped? Like she wanted more details to kind of like,
Sheena, man, Sheena gets into it, man. Like Sheena hates me, but she gets into it,
I will say though, Sheena and Ariana were probably two of the best reality stars to work with in interview because they promoted it. They did swipe ups on their Instagram stories.
Yes,
really went.
Okay. That's another,
which you guys is so supportive.
Yeah, because that's the other thing is that they'll do it and then they're either lazy or they won't do it. And it's like for them, like for us, a swipe up means everything. For them, they're just it's like, oh man, did I miss it? I'm sorry. Anyways, fun talking to you.
Yeah.
Like they don't really understand the life of what we're doing,
Yeah. Or the value in supporting us to help them. They don't see the full circle moment.
I think sometimes they don't even know how to work their phone. Like sometimes they're like, swipe. Okay, I think, you can just really sometimes tell there's a dysfunction there that makes them great reality stars. I mean, I was talking to Jill Zarin a couple weeks ago and I was like, holy, like it, I almost just stopped talking because I felt like I was watching an episode of Real Housewives of New York. I was like so entertained just listening to her talk about an airplane experience. And I thought, for a second, I got confused and thought I was watching TV, and I just stopped talking because I was like, man, I miss you talking,
I have to say though, you do a really good job. Like your show is it's good, it's solid, it has like a loyal following, you get good ratings and reviews, and you never get in trouble. I get in trouble all the time, Ryan. Like,
well, I feel that's not actually, the last month I've gotten probably in the most hate. I mean, I've had people tell me to kill myself.
Why?
I don't know. Like they don't really say. They'll be like, here's the reason, because I'm ugly. The guy said, he goes, you're ugly and you should kill yourself. And I was like, that's a fair point, but I don't know if I'm going to kill myself. But I've got like the Barstool crowd because I spoke about Barstool Dave. And Dave Portnoy. So I got a bunch of them leaving bad reviews.
Yeah.
I got the Erica Rinna stands that I come out very hard against them.
Oh yeah. See,
I understand but I understand. I just think when you get to a point where you then leave a review based on somebody else's opinion, I think that's troubling in the fact that they get to do that because you're like, man, I put so much work into this, and my opinion, you're reviewing my opinion.
Yeah.
Because I always say everybody's opinion is right. Like you can have your own opinion. You can even start your own podcast.
There has to
be a
Pro-Rina
podcast.
There has to be like something in the cosmic stars, because I've also in this past month been hit with, well, I actually know who it's coming from. There's a very specific podcaster that likes to target other shows.
I think I know.
I think we've talked about this before.
About,
But so this is the second wave I've gotten it now. And I think this person like has a Patreon and gets like those loyal people fired up to go and do it, because I have gotten so many, because like my community's been so supportive and they've given me so many 5-star like detailed reviews, but the rating is still at 4. I dropped from a 4.7 to a 4.5 and I'm still at that 4.5 because I just keep getting flooded with those 1-star reviews. And like people don't realize like how much that really does fuck with our ability to like sustain.
Yeah, I mean, because it does mean something. Like I take pride in the show regardless, but it does. And I guess it sounds like, oh, boo-hoo, boo-hoo, you have your strong opinions, I'm gonna have my strong opinion. But it's like, well, the reviewer should be like, yo, your sound's like,
honest.
I had a couple episodes, my sound sucked. It was so horrible. I knew I couldn't do anything about it, but I wanted to release it. I got reviews about that. I was well aware, but hey, you're right. You shouldn't be listening to crap like you shouldn't be listening to bad audio. I get it. Or if like, I'm speaking over you way too much, which I probably am doing right now. I get that review. Like, I get it. Like I've had reviews where it's like, I've got to step back or calm down because I get so excited. But I don't know. It's just being a podcaster is a weird thing because there's no blueprint or roadmap.
There's no rubric for how to do it.
I mean, you have like the people like the Watch What Crappens and the Dannys and the, that are amazing. And I mean, the Crappens guys, two of the nicest people that I've ever continued to talk to in my life. And the success, I mean, it's so comforting that they are as nice as they are. But I really feel like they got there by being themselves. Like they get to literally be themselves and people take such joy from it. And they've done this year in, year out. I mean, what are they? They're like 8 or 9 years into this thing.
Yeah. They've been doing it for a minute. And they're doing it. I saw they were just doing a show here in downtown LA where they rented out like one of the big theaters and they're like doing their, and I'm like, you know what?
They sold out a huge theater. They released their tour dates in January. They're doing the crappy awards over in New York this time. And I want to say like Radio City or something unimaginable. And they had almost sold it out. And I'm like, when podcasts are selling out more than bands that I would go see, like that is wild.
It's wild. It is. I'm like, I don't know if I would ever book like a big theater. Like I would be so terrified that nobody would show up. But like that's my own ego.
I was talking to Sarah Galley about this because she did her first live show in New York, and I said, "Man, good for you." I sometimes don't want to pull the trigger on that because that's my fear. Is that it's like 4 people, and then I cry on stage, or like you can tell I'm just bummed out. Like that. I mean, that's a real people coming out to see you. It's even different than having them in your ears, like in their ears.
Yeah, I can sell wine on the internet, but selling out a theater scares me.
But it goes in waves, and like this is we got to take risks, and I think that's what we're doing. And I have goals for the new year. Like I want somebody to teach me even how to watch TikTok, not even let alone make it. Like I don't even know how to like TikTok. YouTube, I think do both of those, which are amazing. I'm, an old fuddy-duddy, so I need to learn, like, there's just things that I'm unaware of that I'm like, wow, that would be cool if I have the time, or that would be neat to kind of, so like, this is all about risks. And, the one commonality, I think we share a lot of the same audience is that, is just how great the people are. There's like haters and all that stuff, but the majority of our audiences are some of the most intelligent, funny people that I've ever met in my life. And I've been around like artistic people for the majority of my life. And some of these people, I'm like, how the hell are you not having a podcast? How the hell are you like just brilliant?
Yeah, I love having those like intimate conversations or getting to know people. I do a lot of lives now on Instagram, and it's just like a really great opportunity to kind of like really get to know people. And I think it just, I don't know, I appreciate that sort of to me, that's real community building rather than just having an audience.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm not brave enough to do the lives yet either, but like the people that, it's like, I think we both know probably when I turn my mic on, I know exactly who I'm talking to,
Yeah. Do you think, how many seasons do you think Vanderpump has left?
I think it'll go 2 more seasons.
2 more seasons, and then we're done. I think they should have like a rebooted cast of Vanderpump Rules and then give the Toms their own spinoff.
I think the Toms will be okay regardless. Like, I think they're the most, because you would be able to have them as the heads like Lisa, and we would be actually free to meet new characters, like I feel like what they have now is like, it's like handcuffed to this. Well, it's gotta be these people that we know. And these people, like, it's like this weird, like you're not, but then like obvious ones, like, but you're not even showing Peter, like you're not even showing so they're handcuffed to this premise. And I feel like if you did something like that and break it out, like, I guess Tom is now enveloped by the Vanderpump, because we don't really see Sir at all. And now it's Tom. So hopefully Schwartz and Sandys or whatever the hell it is, that would be an amazing opportunity to get to meet new people, because guess what? There's a lot of effed up bar people in Los Angeles, and especially after the pandemic. And I would love to hear their stories because they have them,
Yeah, I feel like Vanderpump, I don't want it to die yet. I feel like it's going through a transition phase. It's going through like, uncharted territory, and we're trying to recalibrate and figure out what the show is going to be moving forward. And I hope we have like a Real Housewives of OC moment, or a Real Housewives of New York moment when Bethany came back, where like we were able to kind of revamp it, revive it, and bring it back to life. And I'm optimistic about Vanderpump.
That's an interesting point. In fact, I had a daydream about that the other day, of the Heather Locklear kind of thing of like, what if, just say what if, and I know, like, what if Bravo has said all is forgiven, and what if the last shot of this season's episode is you pan up and you see Stassi walk through the doors of Tom?
Do you think she would do it?
Or do you I don't think she needs to do it. I want to make it fair. Like, she has a book deal. I know she makes a lot of money on her Patreon. Like, that's, so I hear financially she is totally fine. Probably better off than a lot of the other ones completely.
Yeah.
But I think there is that thing. I think that cockiness, like even Bethany still has for some reason, of like, I can fix him, or I can fix this show, or only I. There's a delusion that we have with there's a delusion with great reality stars where even you're like, I would never make that choice. They make that choice. And that's why we love them, because they sometimes have the balls or the insanity that we don't, to throw their lives into chaos and havoc and ruin a potential good thing of like, she's got a family, she's got all that stuff, but they burned her, like in her head. I think they took the appropriate action for what happened. But I do think there's that thing in her head of like, I think she's a competitive person, You
think she would come back?
I think it would definitely be very much on the table, because you brought it up. It's the Bethany of it all.
Yeah.
Of look what it did for Bethany. I am the Bethany of Vanderpump Rules. I am the Bethany. Like that, if she, and people still like, she's the basic bitch. She's this, women and girls, a lot of them still love and adore her so much. So I don't know. I could see her considering.
I'll even say, like, I think she's probably, of all of them on and off the cast currently, the one that I'm still the most captivated by, because I want to continue to watch that journey, only because I feel like she's had the greatest character arc on that show. Like, Sheena's been very one note consistently. Ariana's had her moments, but I feel like Stassi went from this really entitled little brat that was so annoying but had these really witty, funny interview bites, and she's had
to an older entitled brat.
Yes, but it's also, but we've seen her like become a mom and get married and stop dating the douchebags and find herself, Beau, where like people fell in love with her relationship with Beau because they knew that like this was actually a good guy for her. It wasn't a Jax, it wasn't a Patrick, and I think even seeing her be reprimanded on such a public scale and for it to be picked up by Variety, like that blew up all over the place, that it turned her into such a different type of celebrity outside of just the reality TV world, because so many people had their eyes on her, that I think her character arc has been the greatest of all of them.
Well, I'd be curious to see what that arc is now, because
but that's why I say she's so captivating, is because I want to continue to watch that story play out.
I think my thing was, and my concern or worry is that she's the one that brought, really, I think she was able to speak to a certain time and place where it was just ranch dressing, and I love Game of Thrones, and I love horror movies, and that's my whole personality. I love murder. It spoke to so many females and even males to a degree. But at this time and place right now, and especially with what she went through, I really think I would love to see her push past that and be like, it's not about basic bitch anymore. It's not about.
That's what I'm hoping for in her new book.
I love a lot more than ranch. I love a lot more than Game of Thrones. And the thing that she has a silver tongue. She can verbalize things in a way that is a lot better than any of her castmates.
Yeah.
Lala is too, she does pop up to a degree where it's like some of her sound bites get lost in her loving her own sound bites.
Yeah.
Whereas Stassi, I think, Sheena, we love Sheena because she's Sheena.
Yeah.
Sheena's not great at sound bites. Sheena's great in like reacting to somebody or falling in love with somebody. It's completely different.
Yeah, no, I agree. But that's what I'm looking forward to in Stassi's new book, is because I want to see, because like I bought the first book, I went to the book signing and have my photo, but I didn't read the entire book through, because to me the basic bitch thing didn't speak to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas at least with this new book that's coming out, it seems like there may be some depth there, and I'm curious to see what that looks like. I think making money
off of being canceled is a really slippery slope.
Yeah.
Like if you make yourself a martyr, but by the way, I have not read it. I don't know what it is, but I think making money off of that is like a really dangerous thing, because you either solidify yourself as a certain villain to certain people, and then you become a hero to a certain type of person, instead of being, I don't know. I don't know if we have a possibility of being loved by all anymore for any pop culture figure.
Are you going to be buying Erica Jane's tell-all book?
No, but I'll get it from the library like I did her first book. I listened to Erica Jane's first book, and I'll listen to her second book. Like, that's the thing too, is that a lot of people confuse my opinions on like, I've never called for Lisa Rinna's firing, Erica Jane's firing. I feel like it would be a huge mistake for Beverly Hills to mess with the formula that they have now. Like, I mean, it was so funny of like, and I even laugh when people get into because Bravo doesn't give an F what any of us thinks. Yeah. Like, even if we're in the right, they don't care what we, but hell, like yes, of course I'm going to, I'm not going to read it, but I will listen to the hell out of it,
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
But do you think, see, my theory was that, and why, I mean, of course we all know Brian Moylan did her first book with her, Ghost wrote it. And that's why I think also another reason why Brian didn't, go as in depth in his coverage of this season in terms of Erica is because I believe there's already a deal in place for him to do the second book,
Or he's trying to do that, or he's trying to make that deal happen.
Yeah, why wouldn't you? I mean, that's going to be a big money. That's going to be a big money book.
That's going to be more money than The Pretty Mess.
I mean, without a doubt.
Were you surprised that Lala didn't make the New York Times bestseller list?
No, but I mean,
really?
Well, in 5 years, I think I listened to Lala's book too. Like, and I liked it. I mean, it's fine. It's a real easy read, and I like Lala. But there's only so much, and these books now are just flooding the market. Like everybody, they'll even have one season on a show, and all of a sudden, like, we need a book. There's only so many stories that you have. Like, I would be curious. I want the Lala book now in 2 years with her perspective on the Randall breakup. I want that. I want a Lala that's been hurt and not given everything. I want. I want to really see a couple of years into motherhood what happens. I want to see if Lala dates again and who she dates, and if she dates somebody with money or dates for love. Those are the questions that I would really love for her to put down in paper or in audiobook form. But other than that, like, I understand why it didn't. There's only so much. There's only one Stassi, and Lala is loved, but she was also not loved for the majority of her time on Vanderpump.
I was surprised she didn't make the New York Times bestseller list because I know a lot of them buy their way onto the list.
That's what I'm saying. Like Randall,
Randall had money.
Randall, where the fuck were you? I mean, why was not Randall going to every Target in the Southern California area and just buying the hell out of that?
Buy the hell out of them. Buy her the best PR. I don't even think she had her own publicist when the book was out. I think she was using the publisher's publicist.
I'm curious if she'll get back with him, I mean, what would be funny a way to get her back is to get her on the bestseller list now after a year and a half of the book being out or however long it's been. It'd be great if Randall now buys up all the copies and she all of a sudden gets on the New York Times bestseller list. That would be a good way to get her back.
I don't think she could make the New York Times bestseller list now. I think there's a certain cutoff that you need.
Oh, I thought you can like just physical copy. It's like, I thought it was like Billboard where there was a song that all of a sudden got back on the Billboard charts because it was like a popular on TikTok after like 20 years or something.
Yeah, it's like a whole system where it has to be a certain number of books, but to prevent people from just buying all of the copies, like only a certain number of books can be purchased on a single Amazon account, and it has to come from different states, and there has to be a certain quota per region, and like it's a whole thing that it's hard to master that, but like if you have the right PR team in place, if you have the right sales moving in the right places, like only because I've seen celebs that I've worked with do it, and I know that it's a game, but it's a lot harder than just going and buying all the physical copies out of the stores.
Yeah, I also want. That's the other. I'm just so curious about even Randall and what he's saying, because Randall. I mean, I guess you could say all men have a sickness, but Randall definitely can't control himself. Like, or Randall thinks he's smarter than everybody.
I don't know.
It really is very interesting that, and you still see Randall like he doesn't admit defeat. He's like, hey, I still got a positive attitude. What's going on? Like, you can't see that he's heartbroken if he is. And I think that's kind of his MO regardless. Like, people can say he's like, doing his movies in weird fashion or getting the money in a weird way, and you'll still see him smiling the whole time,
Yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't fuck him for a Range Rover. That must have been
And I
some
think
real
it was a
love.
leased Range Rover at that,
Well, yeah. Because then he can he also, we learned, has that, like, I need to still have the control over you. Like, I'll take away the Gucci slides when you're not, behaving the way I want you to behave.
I will say, like, Randall, and no offense to Randall, I think attitude is so much in terms of getting guys or girls, but the money really helps. The money really does help make you so much more attractive.
Oh, yeah.
If Randall's a 4, money makes him a 7 to an 8,
Oh, yeah.
But Lala might have happened at a perfect time, because there's been so many questions about Randall's money. Like, how long would the money last? And does Lala really want to be there for that? Does
No.
Lala really want to stand by her man?
No, she doesn't want to be an
really
Erica
the chips
Jane.
are down.
Yeah, she doesn't want to be an Erica Jane. She is better off on her own than she would be with the depleting finances.
I want to make actually an announcement. I am the ghostwriter on Tom Girardi's new book. It's called Me and John Wayne, and it's just about that John Wayne story he keeps telling. It's 800 pages.
800 pages of the same story on repeat.
Yeah.
I love it. What do you think of Kathy Hilton holding out from Beverly Hills for more cash?
I think it's a mistake.
Yeah.
Because it is done, like, not that Kathy was trying to be anything at this point, but she's a major character in Paris in Love, which is a reality show not a lot of people realize is on Peacock as well. And so there's Kathy there too. And I think the magic of Kathy is to have Kathy in a very small way. Like, we saw her, not a main character, but just a little spice or a little, it's like, it really brings something. There's a levity and, just so great. But to be aware of that and to hold out for more money and stuff, it becomes too clouded in business. And I don't know. I think you start to lose some of the magic of what actually makes Kathy Hilton magical in the first place. So overall, I think it's a mistake. I think somebody's advising her poorly. And I think it's with those group of ladies and with her sister that it really is magical. When I see her in Paris in Love, it's cute, but it's not nearly as entertaining as it is in Beverly Hills.
She's very, and I think she's very one note in the sense that she's not going to bring the drama. She's not going to hash out Hilton family, skeletons. She's not going to get messy. Like, she's comic relief, she's levity, and she'll always just kind of be that note. You know what I mean? That I don't think
she's a little bit kookier Kris Jenner.
Yes.
And it's like, we'll never really see the real Kris Jenner on TV.
Yeah.
And we'll probably never see the real Kathy Hilton on TV, and the fact that Rick was even shown once last season, her husband, I always find fascinating as well. And that was kind of my dream, was that he would get comfortable and be in there as well in little scenes, and like see him deal with PK and Maurice, like things like that. I was actually curious and excited for. But yeah, the holding out for more money, I think Bravo will end up giving it to her, but it's so deep into the season already.
I don't think they will.
They've been shooting so long.
I don't think they will at this point, only because if it were a reasonable amount of money, they would have given it to her. I'm sure they would have given her more than what they paid her last season because of the star quality that she was able to present in this past season. And the fact that they didn't, and they replaced her with Diana Jenkins. I'm curious to see what Diana has to bring to the table. But we'll see.
I don't know though. There is a little bit, or just, for me, and I think, I don't know for you, but I was recapping every episode and those really took so long. I have such a Beverly Hills fatigue. And I would imagine any Bravo fan does, just with the amount of discourse that was around the season, where it's like, guys, please take a break. I know you're like, they're filming so much. Like, there's been so many events that we've seen over Instagram where I'm like, damn, you've got to almost have a whole nother season close to being done.
Yeah. With the amount of content that they've been filming.
Like, we keep seeing all these events. They've already had a cast trip. We've had Lisa's mom's unfortunate passing. We've had all of these things. We've had the Scott and Amelia breakup. We've had all of this, let alone the Erica Jane, quote unquote comeback, which we know she said it, but we also saw already a scene with her and Garcelle where they're working out at a gym. Yeah. Like, I love people are like, why is Garcelle working out with Erica Jane? It's like, because there's cameras there. It's because it's part of her comeback, getting in shape, getting on the road,
What are your thoughts of Nicki Minaj at the Potomac reunion?
to each their own. I am somebody that is pro-vaccine. I thought, when you have that big of a star expressing opinions that aren't fully formed, based on like your cousin's friend's gigantic nutsack. Like, I feel that is sometimes, we give our celebrities so much cred. Like, we take them at face value and we think they know so much more than us. But I was entertained as hell watching her for the last couple of minutes of Potomac, and I'm very excited to watch her tonight. I think she was really good at it. I just think, like, not that I want to put Nicki in a box and all that, but I just think it's dangerous information to present ideas that aren't fully formed, or, because kids and people like that look up to Nicki Minaj. And I think it's just, I don't know. I don't know my thoughts fully on this. All I know is I still found her very entertaining. And the preview with her calling out Ashley would just crack me up.
I think it's good for the franchise. It's like Ultimate Girls Trip. It's revamping the show and bringing something new and fresh to an already growing stale model. You have Andy Cohen that's hosting every reunion, and you can even see the fatigue in his face sometimes on Watch What Happens Live or at the reunions.
Yeah. Like, he sometimes doesn't know where he's at almost. Like, I mean, not enough, but it just seems like, I mean, the dude's been through a lot, and to have this many voices, have this passionate of an opinion about something that he started, I have to imagine it's effing exhausting. Like, that man has probably, and just the amount of housewives that have his phone number. Like, I mean, it would be cool to a point, and then it's got to be just annoying as heck. But I always say on the pod, like, are we bringing new eyes in? Are we bringing, like, I know we all love it and we all can cite all the facts about it, and we're so passionate, but are we bringing in new people? Is Bravo going to be healthy in 10 years? Because, we're not promised that Bravo continues. So it is important that they start expanding the universe. It is important that they do Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip. 90 Day Fiance is way ahead of the game in terms of like how much content and the universe that they build. Bravo needs to do the same, and they are. So I'm really comforted in that fact.
Yeah, I love Ultimate Girls Trip. I love Winter House. I love the integration of Nicki Minaj at Potomac. Like, I feel like they're finally taking more risks and trying more things other than just adding new cities. Whereas, like, for a minute, it was like, do we really need just another city? Even Dubai was a bit of a risk in taking us, out of the US and giving us exposure to different cultures, because that was one of the intentions of Housewives originally, was to expose us to other types of cities and viewpoints within those cities.
It just shows, like, I mean, the only thing, and I say this to myself as much as anybody else, is that tolerance, not only in how we live our lives and who we love and all of that stuff. It's not just about that. It's about these shows and this network that we love as well.
Yeah.
Be tolerant. Like, our things, we're so akin to getting angry immediately. Yeah. I remember when Kathy Hilton was announced. Oh, F that. We don't need her. She's a bad person. Yeah. And people were up in arms before anything had even been filmed. And then a lot of us grew to really love her in this iteration of Kathy Hilton. Not giving her a pass for her life, but what she presented on screen. Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip. Oh, Andy said it would be Bravo would be a death store and jumping the shark if he ever did a mashup. You know what? He did say that at one time. He was wrong. Yeah. And it's really good. Like,
he also said Bethany shouldn't be on Real Housewives. He also said, there was another big one that he didn't want to cast either. I don't remember who it was. I was reading Not All Diamonds and Rosé and finding out how many of these casting choices Andy was against that ultimately ended up really paving the way for the Housewives that we know now.
I just find it fun. Like, our audience, we don't wait and see. Like, we react immediately, and then a lot of the times we're wrong.
Yeah.
Like, we're fully wrong of, like, just even in seasons. And it's funny with OC coming up. I've already hit, snap judgment. I didn't like the trailer. I hated it. Like, I personally liked it. I was like, oh, looks like a housewife show. Yeah. I mean, like, looks like a housewife. And our expectations are so jacked right now because of the crime on Salt Lake and Beverly Hills, or the potential of crime, that, like, we got to get back to earth. Like, we gotta, and that's why I do really enjoy Salt Lake, even without the Jen Shaw stuff, because I'm like, if this had been on, you guys, 8 years ago, we would be salivating over it.
It would be a great season.
Yeah, but like even we have like I expected more out of this season. I expected more like before the Jen Shaw like last couple of episodes. And I'm just like, wow, like what I mean, genuinely, what do people want? Because I was
Yeah.
sitting there enjoying all of it. Like, and then it makes you question yourself of like, what am I seeing that I don't hate this?
Yeah, and I think maybe the bar has been set too high in the past. Maybe our expectations have changed. But like for me, I love to go into every season of every show and just kind of take it at face value, not get too deep into it, and just kind of appreciate it for what it is. And I feel like with setting the bar back at ground zero, we can only go up from here. I don't know what expectation people are holding these shows to even be this disappointed in some of the content that we've gotten lately.
And they so easily write it off too. They're like, not for me, thanks. Like it's always like very
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you. Thank you, Susan.
Very brutal. It's like very brutal. And I go back to that thing of like maybe we all should like we live in a time where we're all able to voice all of our opinions at any time.
Yeah.
Like you can throw it up on Twitter, on Insta, like and I'm like, sometimes maybe we shouldn't have that power.
I agree. Sometimes I'm like, that was an unnecessary comment. We didn't need to. Yeah, not gonna watch anymore. Got it. Thank you. Thank you for the engagement, but I didn't need that energy today. Like if
even with podcasting, it's like,
yeah,
is there a thought that I don't express anymore?
Yeah.
Like, is there any thought that I keep to myself? Like, it's like there used to be. I mean, before I watched these shows from conception. I watched the first night that OC premiered. I was watching it, and that was the same day that Twitter got in. Twitter was first day for business was the premiere of OC. I didn't have a Twitter account then, but that's the first day. But I just remember like there was something nice about like, oh, that show I saw and like being able to think about it. And then you that one person in the office that watched it too. And you kind of talked about it. I had no idea up until like 5 years ago that like, holy crap, there's so many of me out here. And there's like these Facebook groups and Instagram groups, and they take every little moment and they dissect it. And there's something really beautiful about that. But the fact that none of our thoughts are unexpressed anymore is very interesting to me.
No, I agree. It's social media, it's podcasting, it's Instagram stories, it's constant opinions and constant thoughts and word vomit, really, myself included.
Well,
I have 3 episodes a week. It's word vomit at this point.
I saw a friend the other day post on their stories or something like, do you guys want me to do a podcast? Should I do a podcast? And the thing with that is that like, if you want to do a podcast, but nobody needs a podcast.
Yeah.
Nobody's it's like, if you have it in you and you have this desire, do it, but nobody's going to beg. Nobody should be begging anybody to do a podcast or anything for that matter. If you have it in you, if you have that passion and drive, do it. It's there. You can do it tomorrow or even tonight, but otherwise it's just funny. Like nobody needs to beg you or coax you into doing something like this.
I agree. And you've created a great podcast for yourself. So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey. Available where at Ryan Bailey?
Oh,
everywhere.
All podcast outlets. Yeah, I think
Patreon.
It's on everything. Yeah, Apple. Oh yeah, there's a Patreon too. More episodes that you don't. By the way, there's so much free content, you guys. Just to be honest with you, you don't need the Patreon, but if you need it, there's like over like 100+ episodes and further like breakdowns and Q&As and all that stuff. So it's there for a couple bucks a month, and of course the Instagram account. This went too fast, Zach. You got to come back on the show so we can continue this because we didn't even hit half the show.
We barely scratched the surface with Salt Lake City. We didn't even talk about New York or Heather Holland-Thompson.
Do you think people are going to hate this? I hope people like this.
People are going to love this. People are going to love this.
Yes, that Heather interview, you guys, I read that in the car right when I was driving. That's dangerous. But I mean, wow, what a way to exit. What a way to really give an exit interview.
Somebody hand her a bottle of Dasani.
Oh God, I love it.
I can't with Heather. I just feel like Heather and Carol are just on this PR tour to like trash the show. And it's their way of trying to still be a part of the show without being part of the show. And it's like the cool girl thing to say, I'm too good for the show, even though I'm still falling into the petty behavior of the show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like Heather and Carol and Not All Diamonds and Rose, like those were the most scathing interviews that were given in that book.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that, Dave Quinn, who put all that together, the gold he got on some of those people is just, and And the fact that Andy, this was all Bravo approved. So I find that very ballsy. I really love that,
Again, more risks that Bravo is taking. I think Bravo started listening to our podcast, Ryan Bailey, and they're like, you know what, we're going to take notes.
I don't know about like my podcast, but I will say I do think they do list. I mean, not on casting per se, but they do listen on what could be like all the kind of iterations. And these are all money-making properties. And the way that business and entertainment is going is that we all feel better when we know we're part of a quote unquote universe, whether it be a Marvel universe or a 90-day universe. And Bravo could have been doing this years ago. But I think there was a taste that Andy thought, well, this isn't tasteful the way I want to do it. And I think it's one of the only times that Andy's been just wrong.
I mean, if you read Not All Diamonds in Rose, you realize how wrong Andy has been so many times in the past. But that's why we can't have one voice of reason. We have to have a collective that, gives
I do wonder
ideas.
how many years Andy has left in him, because it really is one of those things, man. Like,
it's going. Like, he's not going to be in it much longer.
You think like somebody like, I remember Jon Stewart leaving the Daily Show and I was like, wow, I thought he would do this until he died. Yeah. Like, I just thought, and he was like, no, man, I got other things in me. And I think Andy probably has other things and desires in him as well. I just wonder how long he really wants to keep going with this.
I mean, I think he's reaching the end of the road. I think he's a dad now. I think he is appreciating the quiet life a little bit more. And I think he'll still dabble in. He'll still have a name and a face every once in a while. But I think he's reaching the end because it's so fatiguing to have to Watch What Happens Live every night, and then to have to do all the reunions, and then to have to watch all of these shows and have notes. And like, it's just, after a while, it becomes fatiguing.
To lie to us every season and say this is the best season of Orange County yet. I'm not, that's the deal. Like, I'm one of those people that I'm very simple in the fact that I love Andy Cohen. Yeah. I know a lot of people really are passionately dislike him or like are calling for his exit. And I'm like, no matter what, he is the founding father. Like, I think there is so much owed to, what he did in putting this on the map, and a real carnival barker like Barnum and Bailey's, he is, Barnum and Bailey's. He made this. He shouted from the rooftops, and it's a thing.
I agree, Ryan Bailey. Thank you so much for joining me on #NoFilter with Zack Peter. Everyone, please go and support Ryan Bailey's podcast. So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey, which is wildly entertaining. How many episodes are you releasing a week now? Is it 5 days a week?
5, and then a couple Patreon. Way too much. I do 3 and I'm like breaking my back. But I always tell people you don't have to listen to all of them. Just listen to the guests you like, or listen to the recap you like. Yeah. You don't have to, like, there's no requirement. There's no test. It's free,
Yes, and that's the beauty of podcasting, which is one thing I respect about you so much, is you do it for the enjoyment of it. You're not doing it to make a paycheck. You're not doing it to, be famous off of Patreon. You're really doing that. You're doing the thing, Ryan Bailey. So support his Patreon. Listen to So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey, available on all podcast platforms. Also, where you can listen to #NoFilter with Zack Peter, including iTunes, where you can watch full episodes of my cute face. I get my brows done. I get my hair bleached. I want that validation. So please subscribe on YouTube if you haven't done so yet. Give me a follow at JustPlainZack or at NoFilter with Zack to keep up with the latest show news. And where can they follow you, Ryan Bailey?
At So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey on Instagram, and at Ryan Bailey 25 on Twitter.
I love it. Love it. Thank you, guys. Talk to you this Wednesday. Bye.